I live in one of Iceland's biggest cities. Like some of my friends, I craved the clean, quiet nature of a rural atmosphere. I don't remember who, but someone suggested that I camp out near Avallis Fjord. It's this beautiful place near the north side of the country. I've done some research and it seemed like a great idea, so I went on my solo camping trip the following weekend. But as soon as I arrived, red flags began to show. I was looking for a spot to set up camp when I overheard two young men arguing. I would have passed by them had I not heard what they said about the fjords. "I'm not doing it, Adam," one of the men yelled. "Don't be such a wuss, Jake," Adam scoffed. "Remember, we came all the way from America to record the first sighting of the Avallis ghost. No way am I going to miss out on this opportunity because you decided to chicken out." Apparently, Avallis Fjords was believed to be haunted by a female ghost. If you go there at sunset, you'll hear what sounds like a woman singing. Nobody ever saw this ghost, but they did hear her. As is usually the case, not everyone believed in this legend. The main reason behind the skepticism was that nobody ever saw this spirit. Some have even used the classic, "It's just the wind" line. I heard of this singing ghost when I was a kid through my cousin. She and her father lived in a village near Avallis Fjords. The parents of that village tell their kids about the Avallis ghost, except they describe her as some boogeyman. Or should I say boogie woman? Anyway, I figured that this singing ghost was something the village made up to scare the kids straight. I decided to check out Avallis Fjords myself, not because I believed in ghosts, but because I wanted to hear the strange sounds for myself. I'd set up camp as close to Avallis Fjords as possible. I was taking in the beautiful scene before me when I realized that the sun was going down. Night came and I could hear something from the fjords. I grabbed my flashlight and headed towards the cliffs. As I got closer, I couldn't believe my ears. It was the unmistakable sound of a woman singing. She was singing in Icelandic. For context, I moved to Iceland from England about 5 years prior. I didn't learn Icelandic because most of the people I've met here spoke English. I was walking alongside the stream when the singing got louder. However, it wasn't because I was getting closer to the source. The woman singing was actually coming from behind me. I felt the air getting colder as the voice got closer. A chill ran down my spine as I felt the woman's breath on the back of my neck. I stopped walking. Half of me screamed to keep going, but I was also curious to know what the Avallis ghost looked like. To be honest, I didn't think I'd see anything. I was dead wrong. I turned around and saw something horrifying. A woman's disembodied head was floating before me. Her hair was a ratty mess of braids. The head didn't stop singing even after I stopped to look at it. The singing then transformed into yelling. The sudden change in tone snapped me out of it and I ran away. I didn't feel safe going back to my camp, so I ran to my cousin's village. I must have looked like a madman when I entered my cousin's village. I was banging on her door until she opened it. I was a rambling mess when I tried to explain what had happened. Meanwhile, my cousin's husband looked at me as if I were nuts. Somehow, my cousin made sense of my gibberish and let me into her home. It turned out that there was more to the story than she told me all those years ago. We just weren't old enough to hear the rest yet. The Avallis ghost was a resident of my cousin's village back in the 12th century. She was famous for her incredible singing. Apparently, the popularity got to her head because she became incredibly entitled. The worst was when she decided to openly cheat on her husband. One day, the husband snapped and decided to take revenge on his wife. He knew that some of the men she slept with were married themselves, so he recruited the scornful wives to help with his plan. In the middle of the night, the husband and his allies kidnapped the wife. They dragged her to Avallis Fjords, where she was decapitated. Her head was thrown into the water while the body was left for the predators. Since then, Avallis Fjords has been haunted by the song of the murdered villager. I don't know why the Avallis ghost allowed me to see her. Maybe it's because nobody stuck around long enough to find out. At least that's what my cousin suggested. Later, I found out what happened to Jake and Adam. They thought the Avallis ghost would be on the cliffs for some reason. That's why I never saw them. They searched for a couple of hours before giving up and leaving the fjords. I guess the Avallis ghost never approached them because she was bound to the river where she was killed. Either that, or scaring the crap out of me was enough for her. If you ask me, Adam and Jake were the lucky ones.